Hey everyone, welcome to the Jen Weigel Show. I must get, 6, 10 emails a week, maybe, some weeks more than others, from people asking me, how do I know it's a sign from the other side? What are the signs from the other side? Is it just a coincidence that I keep seeing 1111 or heart-shaped things? Like, what does it all mean? And how will I know that my loved one on the other side is actually sending me signs and it's not just a coincidence that I keep getting that song on the radio whenever I'm thinking of my dad and it's their favorite song, blah, blah, blah. So I decided I wanted to have an expert on who knows all about these things. And first, before I get to our guest today, I just want to pull back the curtain a little bit on how this started for me. And for many of you know, I lost my father 20 years ago. So I started on this journey with my first book, Stay Tuned, where I didn't believe in any of this stuff. So 4 books later and 8 audiobooks later, I'm obviously still digging and still asking questions, but obviously some things have changed and I now see and understand how these signs and signals can happen. And it was when I interviewed a woman named Dr. Mary Neal, who wrote the best-selling book To Heaven and Back. And Dr. Neal, she had a near-death experience. She was without oxygen for 30 minutes, 30, everybody. That's a long time. She knows she's a living miracle. And when she was in the light with Jesus, she believes it was Jesus that was there with her in the light, giving her all these messages about what she needed to do when she returned. She was told that if you just thanked God, thank the universe, thank Jesus, whatever, whomever you believe to be up there watching over you, if you acknowledge all those signs and signals, it will happen so often, you won't be able to explain it in normal terms. Science won't be able to explain. The laws of probability would not possibly be able to tackle that one because it would happen so often. So she challenged me to go ahead and ask for a certain sign or ask for signs, and then every time it happens, look up and say thank you. So that day, I did that exact thing in 2013 when I met Dr. Neal. It actually might have been 2012, April of 2012. And I decided I was going to look for heart-shaped things because I had a friend who was emailing me these wonderful pictures of heart-shaped clouds and rocks and sand clumps. And I thought, how could you find so many hearts? I just couldn't understand it. So I asked for heart-shaped things. And that night, this clump of dirt right by my door when I went up the stairs was perfectly shaped as a heart. So I took a picture of it. I posted it on my Instagram and Facebook. And I'm Jen Weigel on Instagram and Jennifer.Weigel, 2 N's, 2 F's on Facebook. So I posted it there and I was amazed at the responses of people going, how is that possible? So I just kept doing it. And here we are 9 years later. I'm still finding those heart-shaped things. And it is a wink. It is a sign. And I cannot explain how often it happens. So that's just one piece. But then there's when you have challenges and all of a sudden you see 222 and 333 and 444. There's meaning behind it. So joining us today on the Jen Weigel Show, Susan Rowlen is an amazing psychic medium. She's been doing this for 40 years. That's right, folks. She started when she was 5. Welcome back to the show. How are you, Susan?
I'm fine, thank you. I love the introduction. Well, you're doing me such a service. Yes, I was 5.
Well, you were literally 8 when you had your first encounter with the other side. And I know the story, but explain to our listeners what happened to you. Well, I mean, you might have been younger than 8, I believe, but you always had the sixth sense going, didn't you?
Yeah, angels always came through, and so did, people that had passed, and that was very profound for me, and I always say, children do see spirits. Mm-hmm. And so if your child is telling you that there's someone in its room, there probably is. And it's nothing to be scared about. I think people's interpretation of what they think spirits are is right away, oh my God, it's a bad thing. It actually could be a very loving and pure thing. It really can. And it could be a loved one from the other side trying to come through, and because the children are very pure.
Right.
So I always say animals and kids, they can see things that the average person cannot see.
Yeah, they sure can. I mean, you see your dog looking at something walking across the room and you're like, there's nothing there. But there's an energy, there's an ether. And this is another thing I always tell people who email me this question. How can I know? Well, we're all wired differently, right? So Susan sees things and hears things clairaudiently and clairvoyantly, and all these clairs are working for Susan. For me, I don't see spirit, but I get these hunches, I get these feelings. So the other day, I'll give an example. I was missing a necklace. and I couldn't find it. So I closed my eyes and I said, show me where it is. And I got really quiet and really centered. And I took 3 deep breaths in and 3 deep breaths out. I would just, or rather hold for 3 and then out for 3. In for 3, hold for 3, out for 3. Sometimes I do 4, sometimes I do 5, but I just calmed myself down. And I saw, boom, a picture of the necklace on the stairs. I'm not kidding. And sure enough, I went to the stairs and there it was. I was like, hey, thanks. So now, was that my angels, my guides, my spirit guides, my guardian angel? What is your belief system, Susan, that when something like that happens and someone gets a hit about something and it's right, does it really even matter?
Well, no, because some people get guided by more things than others. Okay. Everybody gets guided by differences. It could be their mother that passed. It could be their father that passed. No. But I think we don't give our angels enough credit. Mm-hmm. We love to always give it to the people we love so much because we miss them so much. And I'm not trying to discredit spirit guides, but I do say we don't give the angels enough credit.
Right.
Because the bottom line is angels are all around us all the time. And they're trying to get us into a direction to get our attention in a way where we need to pay attention.
Right.
So a lot of this is really coming from our angels. I believe that. Truly, I really do.
So what are our angels sending us? They're sending us number sequences. That's for sure. I've been getting so many number sequences. Today, I saw 3 different 555s. 555. Isn't 5 change, like complete change?
A lot of radical changes. It could be good and bad, but it brings you to your highest power. But here's another thing. When you see 555, add the 5, 5, and 5, and it's a 15. Add the 1 and the 5, it's a 6. So at the end, as much change as that you're going to get, you're also going to get the peace.
6 is the number for peace. Oh, got it.
Oh, yeah. 6 is a great number for peace. I love 6. And I love when, you're trying to buy a home, and if the address ends in a 6. Ooh. That is a great place to live. So I have a lot of clients that won't make a move in buying a house unless I can look at the addresses. So they will send me the addresses and they'll say, which one?
Right. Well, no, it's interesting. I used to live at 2505 and I added those up. That's 7 plus 5. That's 12. And 2 plus 1 is a 3. So it was a 3. And that's a wonderful Holy Spirit number. Somebody said it's the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, or whatever you want to call it. That's a good one. Is. Yeah.
It's a good safety. I say the best numbers for a house would be 1, it would be a 3, and it would be a 6.
Okay.
Those are the ones that will really, really protect your house no matter what, and will have a very loving energy presence in the house. So, numbers have a big presence in everything that we do, things that we take for granted. Right. I always say angel numbers are reoccurring sequences.
Right.
That have spiritual significance. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you see these sequences, it is telling us a story. So this is a big thing, but they are trying to get our attention.
Right.
So I always say, like when you see signs on the road, like Austin Avenue or Madison, and they're giving you the direction to get off where you need to get off, that's kind of how the angel numbers are.
Oh, for sure.
It comes, but it comes in different ways. It could come in an address. It could come in a license plate.
Right.
It could come on clocks.
Right.
It could come on a receipt.
Oh gosh, that's really a true story. I was going to meet my friend Billy Corgan for lunch, and after I stopped in a store and I had to buy some coffee actually and a couple of things, and I got the receipt, and the receipt was 1979, which is his song. That's one of my all-time favorite Smashing Pumpkins songs is 1979, and that was the receipt right before I was going to see him. And I thought, well, that was a cute little wink. Like sometimes they play practical jokes on you, don't they? Like they just want you to be like, see, we're here. That's not just a coincidence. We're here.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. Very, very much so. And it doesn't have to be anything horrible. Like, what do we have to know now? Is it something we need to know? Is something bad's going to happen? No. Mm-hmm. Like you said, smile, wink. It's just letting you know that they're here. And, angels do have great senses of humor. To various, they do. Mm-hmm. Believe me when I tell you, they do. Everybody thinks that angels are in their white robes and their platinum hair.
Playing the harp.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm. I always say angels can come in human form. Mm-hmm. They can look as much as a homeless character. They can look like Dopey on the Seven Dwarfs. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You're going to say, are you kidding me? Nope, I'm not.
Yep.
So They do come in different ways, but angels are really very loving, and they are trying to get us to the direction that we need to go.
I think they just played with your electronics and beeped the phone. Did you hear that? There was like a beep on the phone. Yeah. And that's another thing. They can manipulate electronics. That's something that they do. They can turn on and off lights. I've got a list here of some emails that I've gotten with some signs, and I want you to go through them with me here, Susan. What does it mean? Okay. This is from Angie. What does it mean when I see pennies repeatedly or dimes repeatedly? Is that my loved ones trying to keep me, people say pennies from heaven. If it's a dime, it's your time. Like, what does that mean according to Angie? Let's answer Angie.
It's a great question. I get it a lot. Those are definitely from our spirit guides. They're not from our angels. Okay. So those are our loved ones just giving us like, hey, we're here. I'm okay. All right. It's confirmation that they are here. And I always tell people, when you are a person that maybe your father was a great coin collector or always had change in his pocket and jingled, definitely pick it up, put it in a big jar, and every time you miss him and you think he's not around, you're going to look at that jar of so many pennies or so many dimes, and that's going to remind you how many times your dad's been around showing you these signs. Right. And you seem to find it, this is interesting, when you need it the most, but when you're not looking.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. This is perfectly timed here from Joel. Joel says, I've been told that when I hear ringing in my ears, that's actually a sign from an angel or spirit trying to talk to me. Is that true? And does it matter what I'm thinking about at the time when I hear the ringing? So
no, not really. Okay. I think it's just trying to get your attention. And sometimes it's trying to get your attention for you to calm down and quiet the chit-chat in your mind. Think about that. Mm-hmm. We overthink so much, and it's a good way to say, hey, I'm going to put that ringing in your ear so you can't really hear and think anymore, just to get rid of it and to calm you down.
Interesting.
So that's a really good thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They will do anything they can to make us better. Remember that.
I love that. Okay, Andrew wants to know, what does it mean when I find feathers? I see them everywhere. Once there was one actually in the seat of my car, inside the car. Mm-hmm. So
it's a big thing. Mm-hmm. They lead us to the directions to where we need to go, but it's also, I had a client in my office, and I said, your husband sends you feathers. And she says, it's so funny you say that, because there was a feather when I got up in the morning and I rolled over, there was this big feather on his side of the bed on his pillow. Mm. As soon as I rolled over, I'm like, oh my God. She goes, Jay, this is you.
Yeah.
So she came to see me, and when she I did tell her, about the feathers, and she told me the story, and I said, there it is. So you will see feathers. And she says, so when I see them, they're my husband. I said, yes, they are. Mm-hmm. And she goes into her car after leaving the office, and she opens up her car, and smack on the driver's seat is a big feather, exactly the same one that was on her pillow, on her husband's pillow. Wow. So she took a picture of it, and she sent it to me in an email. Mm-hmm. And she said, spot on, Susan. She goes, Jay was here. And she goes, and I think Jay wanted to come to you. And that's another thing. Our loved ones will lead us in a direction. I can't tell you how many times people will say, you were on my server. Mm-hmm. And you just appeared there. Your whole website appeared on my server. I wasn't even looking.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? So spirit guides will direct, because they will lead their loved ones to somebody who they can come to and have a really great reading with.
So that's really interesting that you say that. So when I went to Lilydale, New York, which is a whole town in upstate New York, everybody should Google it, Lilydale. Been around since the mid-1800s, and spiritualists live there, and you can go and get a reading, and they're open from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And it's a tiny little town, very small population, but all, spiritualists, mediums, psychics, healers live there, which is fascinating in and of itself. So I went there many, many times, and I was hoping, all I wanted was a message from my dad. And all I kept getting was my dead mother-in-law. I mean, she was everywhere. She was everywhere. And she was Catholic, and she didn't believe in any of this. And she told me I was going straight to hell when she was alive. And then here she was in every single session saying things that only, I didn't give these people my name ahead of time. You sign up when you're there, like right on the door, in the clipboard. So there was no way for them to Google me ahead of time. And the stuff these people were bringing forth, that's when it really, I wrote about this in Stay Tuned, really rattled me. But I was supposed to be the messenger to my in-laws, to the whole family of the people that couldn't get there physically, to give those messages to them because they weren't ever going to make their way to Lilydale. So that is why they used me as the messenger. And they must have known I would be doing these interviews for another 20 years because my dad hasn't shut up since. He's been plenty of chat, but he was totally not doing it during that writing of Stay Tuned. I got to tell you, my mother-in-law was all over the book, and until the end, of course. But anyway, I'm just saying, Spirit will use you as the messenger. Now this is really important, everybody. You have to be open to being that messenger. I wake up every day and say, show me, how can I help spread the vibration, raise the vibration rather, of the planet and spread the messages that Spirit is always with us, connect people, connect the community, and help educate people, inform people, inspire people. And, I want people to develop their intuition because not everybody is going to be Mozart and be able to play unbelievable symphonies, right? And write symphonies, but everybody can play chopsticks. And like you always say, Susan, not everyone's going to be Streisand, but we can all sing in the shower. So there's that, right? But you have to be willing to do it.
It's true. Yeah. And, a really good way, too, is I always say to Spirit, what do you want me to know? So when they send me something and it's a clue of some sort, and a lot of times I won't know what it means just yet, then I'm always open, but then I say, what do you want me to know? Mm-hmm. And then son of a gun, the next clue, or it will come right out, the whole thing. So, like you said, when you're open to these things, it's amazing. Stop trying so hard.
Right.
If I can say anything today, it would be not to try so hard. Be open, don't block, but don't try so hard because you are getting in the way with the universe and what it's trying to show you on their terms.
Right.
Not on your terms. Mm-hmm. It's not about you. Right. Okay.
Right. And another thing you always say, Susan, which is so great, it's like if somebody is getting everything they ever wanted, and you look at them and you think, my gosh, they've just got everything. They get the signs from the universe. They got the great job. They got the great spouse. They got the happy family and the beautiful house. Be happy for them because
always be happy.
It's their time.
It's their time. Yeah. And, I said this to somebody a while back, and she just said, no matter what I do, she's always got it better than me, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but see, your attitude and how you look at her is wrong. Mm-hmm. This was her best friend that she grew up with as a child. And I said, because when I see people that literally have the horseshoe up their rear end, as they say, and everything they touch is gold, it's telling me that prior lifetimes that they've had was not easy. So they're here because they've earned so much, and it's their turn to enjoy.
Right.
Remember that.
Yeah.
When I said that to her, she was like, I never thought of it that way. And I go, well, because you didn't know. So don't beat yourself up too much, because I think a lot of people don't know this.
Right.
But if you look at that, be happy for them, because in previous lifetimes, they were so out of sync, and it was very, very hard to whatever that they had to do in so many lifetimes. So this is a lifetime that universe is saying, okay, they really paid a lot of dues. Let's give them a reprieve. Let them have everything that they never got to experience in all the other lifetimes.
Yep, that's exactly right. Karma, and who knows what happened in the previous ones, but this one, it's their time. And your time could be coming at the back nine. I say, this is my back nine. And you know what? I've had armor on, Susan, for the last decade. And my armor has so many dings in it. I am so ready to retire this armor. And I literally decided this morning, I said, it is time for the ease and grace of my back nine. My back nine, if you're a golfer, that just means it is like, come on, people. I'm being realistic. And it's the fourth quarter, maybe like I'd say I'm halfway through the third quarter if you want to go through, football terms instead. But bottom line is I know that I've got to make things matter, that, just enjoy the moment. If I'm having a hot cup of coffee and, I got a roof over my head and my dog is happy, my kid is healthy and smiling, there is nothing better. And that is enough there. That is enough.
Right there is right. I agree with that. And I love that. And I want more people to really gather that. This is important. It's important to do the work with each other.
Right.
That's important. Nobody seems to be doing that anymore, and I see a lot of disconnect. And it's important to do these things. Make time. Make time for things that you never thought you were going to be able to. Excuses, there's always an excuse. But
sure.
find more reasons to do that. So I agree with that. But when you can do that, because when we pass and it's our turn to go, all the things that you have been working so hard for, the materialistic things, to pay the mortgage, pay this, to do that, you can't take those things with you. What the soul does take are the memories, the experiences that one has experienced. That is what constitutes the soul growth to go and to go to the other side. That's the one thing that never diminishes. So I feel sorry for somebody who really, really got cheated, and they cheated themselves out of having so many beautiful experiences with each other, with people that you love.
Yeah. I had such a vivid dream after my father had passed, and it was playing out like a movie, like I was watching it. But that's another thing. I've got an email here from a guy named Derek asking if our dreams are visitations. And I would say, Derek, and I would love Susan to chime in after I share this, if it's a wonderful, good feeling memory where you feel love and joy, then that is a visitation. I feel like if there's angst and you're yelling at each other, that might just be like your subconscious working some stuff out. But this dream that I had, I was just, like I said, hovering, watching it like a movie. And my dad was sitting by this pool with his best friend, Armin. And Armin had 5 kids, and they were all in the pool. And he was watching them play and laugh. And Armin got in the pool with his kids, and it was just this beautiful moment. And they were puffing. He was puffing on a cigar. My dad loved a good cigar when he was relaxed. And he says, my friend, you can't take any of this where I am now. And he said all this, and he pointed to his big house, and he pointed to his pretty car in the driveway, his Jaguar in the driveway. And, he said, none of that stuff matters. And then he pointed to his heart, and he said, this, my friend, is all you take with you. And then I woke up. It was like, poof. I woke up, and I could still smell the cigar smoke. I'm going to choke up thinking about it. It was so vivid, Susan. I was like, whoa, oh my God. I just saw like that movie play out. And so I tell this to anyone out there, if you have a wonderful dream where they come and they hug you and you smell their hair and you just feel their presence, or they whisper something in your ear, or sometimes they just smile, they don't even speak. They're just giving you that feeling where telepathically they tell you it's going to be okay. You're going to be okay. That is a visitation, isn't it?
Absolutely. And not only is it a visitation, but they want us to thrive. Don't you see?
Yeah.
I tell this to people all the time. When we are not doing our best, or we are so consumed by grief that we stay stuck because of the loss, they are not happy. So I tell people, if you can't do it for you, do it for them, because they cannot sit there and be happy knowing that you are your worst self versus your best self. Yeah. A lot of times people think it's disrespect to have fun and laugh. It's not. This is exactly what they want. They want us to thrive. It's very important that you know this.
So that's
because
interesting.
When you go to the other, because when you go to the other side, let me explain this. You see everything for its truth, and you no longer are a human being with ego.
Right.
So not only do you see the mistakes that you have made to work better, on the other side, to work on your soul growth, but then there's no jealousy. So, I often see people that have lost loved ones that they were married to, and they've had good marriages, and then a year or 2, or maybe 3 years, they actually find somebody and who is just a replica of maybe who had such a good spirit and a good soul, just like their past loved one who passed away. And a lot of times they'll come through in readings, and I'll know nothing about them, and I'll say, you're going with somebody, but your husband wants you to know that he's okay with it. And they just start sobbing. They'll sob, and they say, Susan, I have been wrestling with this. I go, who do you think sent this person to you? And they'll say, I often wondered, because they're so much like my husband. I said, they want you to be happy, and they know your personality. They know what you're going to thrive with.
Right.
And that's what they want. That's not going to take away with what you had with this person.
Right. It's a both and, not an either or. Yeah.
True. Very good. Very nicely put. I like that.
All right. This one is from, let's see, who is this? Donald. Donald wants to know, why do I always hear my mom's favorite song whenever I start crying about my mom being on the other side? Oh, Donald.
Because I think she really wants you to know that she's with you.
Yeah.
She feels you. Every time you think of your loved one in a deep way, it's an invisible doorbell, and they come. So the way that she wants to ease your pain is this beautiful song.
That's nice.
Tell Donald it's quite beautiful what his mother is doing, and I love it because she cares so much and wants to soothe him.
Yeah.
But every time we're having a hard time, they come.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
come.
This woman emailed me that she's having such a hard time with the passing of her husband because it was very sudden. He had battled cancer, was in remission, then got some very weird infection that caused like a sudden heart attack, and boom, he was gone. And it's just like, wait a minute, we thought we got through it, and then, it's just so devastating. And she just says she's in so much pain she can't even absorb a conversation like this because she just can't handle the pain. So for anyone out there that might be listening to this that's in so much pain, they can't even see the smile or any light at the end of the tunnel or any of these signs and signals, what do you recommend they do? Because I always remember hearing from Conchetta Bertoldi, I remember she said this on stage when we had her live here, that your pain is only as deep as your love. But, how can people, Susan, get through that grief and so they can absorb the signs?
I do say this a lot. We want them here. Of course we do. It's a natural human reaction. But in truth, I always tell people if you had children, you left your child with a babysitter, did you leave your child with someone you trusted? And they said, absolutely. I said, okay. When you went out, did you ever really worry? No, because I always felt my son or my daughter was in good hands. Well, that's how you have to think of your loved one. Mm-hmm. Your loved one's with God.
Right.
No greater. Okay. And when you say, well, how could this have happened? He had cancer and he was in remission. But here's what I always tell people. I had a dear friend of mine whose mother had cancer. She was diagnosed with mesothelioma. Mm-hmm. And all she did was cry and prayed and prayed and prayed to God that she would not be taken from cancer. Well, after her third chemo treatment, she had a full-blown stroke 2 days later. There was no hope in saving her, and she passed. And I remember thinking about that, and I was lying in bed, and I felt her pain because it was her mother. Mm-hmm. And then I thought to myself, well, I guess they answered her. She prayed for them not to take her because of the cancer, that she wouldn't die from cancer, and she didn't. Right. She died of something else that was much quicker and less painful. Right. Think about that. It could always be worse in how they can pass. And the last thing we ever want is to know our loved ones are suffering.
Right.
Now, here's the thing I tell people. You don't have to pass until you see them. You will see them if you're open enough, but you're not micromanaging. They will come to you in a dream.
What do you mean you don't have to pass until you see them? I don't get.
Well, a lot of times people think that when I have to die and then I'll see my father.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
You can see your father even though he's on the other side and you're still living. Mm-hmm. You'll be surprised of how your father will come to you in a dream as that visitation. Right. Or you're going to, see a glimpse of him. Mm-hmm. Or, it's just interesting the signs that our loved ones will give us while we're still alive and here.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So I always tell that because so many people think, oh, my God, are they going to be waiting for me? I'm not going to see them until I die. Well, no. Mm-hmm. You will actually be able to see them through dreams. Now, that visitation dream is real. Mm-hmm. They actually came to you. If you went somewhere, you time traveled with your husband, your wife, or whoever it was that you love so much. You actually went somewhere with them. If you had a dream that you guys were shopping or you did something that was your favorite thing to do, you actually were there.
Yeah. Yeah, because I understand that when we are over there on the other side, we get to kind of do all the things we loved doing. If we loved Victorian homes, we live in a Victorian home. I mean, it's sort of like our version of heaven becomes that. You do have to watch your life review and you see how you made others feel. And you see, people always ask me, well, is there a hell? And I say, well, my understanding is you have a life review where you feel everything that you put out to others. And this from the people who've had near-death experiences. You had near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. Is that what you believe to be true, so that could be heaven or hell depending on how you lived your life?
I don't think there is a hell. Mm-hmm. But what I do think, and I know, is that whatever you did, let's look at it this way. Whatever pain you gave somebody, and we all have because we're not perfect. Mm-hmm. You said a sharp word, or you've been mean to somebody, or you were just not nice, or you weren't forgiving, you're going to feel that person's pain. Mm-hmm. So your life review is all about going over everything that you did. Now, you're going to feel every bad experience you caused somebody pain. You're going to feel it. It's not fun. Mm-hmm. But then you're also going to feel every great joy you bestowed onto somebody while you were on earth. You're going to feel that too. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to say, well, what's the reason? To know truly what the difference is. Because the bottom line is, we have to go through so much to be as close to God-like as possible. Don't you see? These are the reasons for the experiences. People say it's to punish. It's never to punish. God's not punishing. It's to understand what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
Seriously. Mm-hmm. When I meet somebody that really rubs me the wrong way, or they weren't kind to me, you know what I always say? I always say, this person is not going to be here in my life very long. It's up to me to what I'm going to do with it. I choose to not harp on it, and I go the other way. I release and disconnect. I don't even have to say a bad word about this person. I just keep going.
No, my prayer lately has been, thank you for showing me everything I don't want to be. That's it. Yeah. So thank you for showing me how I don't want to do business. Thank you for showing me how I don't want to be in my family. Thank you for showing me how I never want to treat my child. Thank you for being the example of everything not to be. And so whether we continue to tangle with that energy is completely up to us. And, for the most part, just like you said, I have had such a reboot in my thinking, since getting over this variant, which is just such a weird thing that both my son and I both got through it. And that's a whole other podcast. You can find that one and a little list of coping with that. But the good news is this: we are fine. We bounced back. We're working on our immune system. That's the main thing that we really care about. Obviously, that's the ticket here, right? Staying as healthy as possible in a very uncertain time. And so my son and I will bond over going to get like an IV, a high dose vitamin IV. Like, these are the things I'm trying to instill in him, this knowledge of how we can keep ourselves healthy, and discussions and conversations and all of these things. But the point is that these toxic bombs keep going off. And it's like, oh, wow, there's the same lesson again, just in a different costume. And like, we'll sit and talk about it. Oh, wasn't that interesting that this person said that, or that thing happened? Well, how are we going to handle that? Well, I don't know. I've got to have class with them, Mom. They're in my class. I said, okay, yeah, they're in your class, but do you have to interact with them? Well, no. Okay, well, then don't. If they're not nice, then don't. Again, like you just said, Susan, we have a choice in every interaction that we tangle with everyone's energy that we choose to be in relationship with. The moment you wake up and you text with somebody, you're in their energy and they're in yours. So choose wisely whose energy is going to be in yours. That is so important, to choose wisely.
Very true. I agree with that. And we can choose the outcome. We really can. People go, no, we can't. Yes, we can. I could choose not to play. How's that? Mm-hmm. When I see people that are one-uppers or they're competitive, I choose not to play. Mm-hmm. That's it. End of story. I chose my outcome. That's it. I'm not playing with this person. That's it. When we see things that keep happening over and over and over again, it's because we did not learn from what we're supposed to. So the universe is sending that same type of person back into our lives. Why? For us to learn, to get another shot at it. Okay, so when I see people that are the doormats, okay, you're going to get another energy sucker that's coming your way. What are you going to do?
Right.
Are you going to smile politely and say, no, not today, I'm done being the doormat? Or are you going to say, okay, I'll help you because that's who I am. Okay, and then when they hurt you, it's your outcome. You chose it.
Right. Right. And then they're going to put some feathers in your path and play your favorite song and show you 222 and 333 and 1111. You'll be fine.
True.
Susan, I adore you. SusanRowlen.com, SusanRowlen.com. Please check out the Spiritual Social Club tab on my website, JenWeigel.com, for more classes. Susan is amazing, and she's one of the social club favorites. We do something on manifesting. We do something on angels, on intuition. So just check out the schedule, see when Susan will be back. And of course, you can always go to her website, get a reading, get an hour with Susan, or you can get 15 minutes. But I recommend the hour because you just won't want to stop talking to Susan once you start. And her YouTube channel, of course, has all the resources that we talked about on the different signs of angels and number sequences and the archangels and all of that. So SusanRowlen.com. Susan, thank you for being you, for doing all that you do to help raise the vibration. I just adore you. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated, and we'll see you next time.